Hello everyone, my name is Teoman Şirvanci. I'm a hard surface modeler and look development artist. In this tutorial, I'll show my workflow for texturing an old Formula 1 toy car in Mari. I'll also show some smart materials and smart masks you can use in your own projects. So let's begin. This project is based on a toy car, which was given to my father by my grandfather almost 50 years ago. Because of that, it felt special and personal. It was also a great chance to keep the memory alive in digital form while creating something meaningful for my portfolio. Besides the emotional value, the project was technically interesting. The model had many different surface details, such as paint flakes, metal parts, plastic areas, rust stains, and dust buildup. So, it became a rich example to explore different material types and workflows. Now, on the screen, there are 3 different stages of the model. On the right, you can see the original scan data. To get this, I use cross-polarization, which removes reflections using filters on the light and the camera. In the middle, there's the projection result. Here, the base color was transferred onto the model. But it's still messy. Many parts were stretched, and there was no data under the model. On the left, you can see the cleaned up version. This is the one used for final texturing. To build the 3D model, the projection cameras from the scan were matched carefully. Clean edge flow, proper UVS, and even textile density were all important during the modeling stage. For better control, the UDIMs were divided into 4 groups: painted metal body, metal parts, plastic parts, and rusty or patched areas. This helped keep everything more organized during cleanup and masking. The cleaning process was mostly done using the clone tool and some custom brushes. Working on the UV view gave more control and speed. In some tight or hidden areas, texture view was used instead. This step takes a bit of time, especially in the inner parts of the model. Even though these areas might not be fully visible in the final render, well, why not clean them up anyway? It just feels better knowing everything is tidy under the hood. Before moving on to materials, I baked some essential maps using Mari's bakery, such as ambient occlusion and curvature. These were very useful for procedural masks later in the process. Also, several smart masks were created. These include a fingerprint, hammered metal, edge wear, dirt and dust masks. They will be shown in more detail later in the video. To make the shading more realistic, physical values were used. These came from Meshman Studio's Gumroad pack, including IOR and extinction coefficient data. In the shader, PXR surface was used in physical specular mode. Now let's look at the material root setup. At the bottom, there is the base metal surface. Then, dirty and painted layers sit on top of it. These were masked using both edge wear techniques and manual painting. Other parts, like the painted metal shell, patched zones and plastic areas, were added next. But to keep things simple, only 2 main material types will be explained in detail. Let's begin with the painted metal surface. This part is based on the painted areas from the scan. First, the color to mask node was used to isolate different regions. It's really useful when you want to target certain painted regions or color variations in your texture. In my case, I fed in the base color map and adjusted the parameters to create a black and white mask. This allowed me to selectively apply dirt, roughness or other effects only where needed, without affecting the rest of the surface. It's a simple but powerful way to drive masks procedurally, especially when dealing with complex color patterns. such as metal, paint, rust, and dust. Because the scan already had color differences, it was easier to build clean masks. Then additional nodes were added to refine the result, like contrast, grade, local mask, texture, and cloud. These helped create more variation and better control across the surface. The same method was applied to other maps as well, such as edge color, roughness, and bump. They were fine-tuned using grade and levels. One example was the metal material. Similarly, I masked the initially dirty and painted areas, as well as regions with excessive color variation. Then, I enhanced the surface by layering grunge textures to add more richness and detail. A similar node setup was applied to the other materials as well. And finally, I added a general dirt and dust layer, controlled by a custom mask to blend it across the entire model. As a result, the workflow stayed clear and easy to manage. At the end, the final texture channels were ready: base color, edge color, roughness, and bump. Now let's take a look at the shader ball. This smart material is a smaller version of the car's surface setup. The bottom area shows metal, while the top contains painted layers. On the top level of the shader ball, some key parameters are available. For example, you can change the base color and scale. You can also adjust the height of the metal and the strength of the ambient occlusion. Additionally, the roughness of the hammered metal can be changed easily. Looking at the material setup, the first one is the painted metal material. It was created using similar methods to the ones I used on the car. However, thanks to its procedural structure, you can easily tweak or customize it based on your needs. Once again, I used the color to mask node to extract masks, then added specular and bump maps to complete the look. Next comes the old plastic material. This also came from the car, and values like color or scale can easily be adjusted through the shader ball. Finally, there is the hammered metal material. Here, users can change the mask's scale and strength, and control the cloud texture. In total, there are 3 materials. Each of them includes adjustable parameters and can be customized easily. This is one of the smart masks I use in the project, a single fingerprint mask. I actually use my own fingerprint here, but of course you can swap in any texture you'd like. The scale was controlled using a constant node, and I added texture variety through Atlas Random. Combined with cloud masks, this gave a nice organic variation across the surface. There is also a hammered metal mask in this setup. The values are adjustable, so you can fine-tune the intensity based on your needs. It's been a pleasure sharing what I've learned throughout this process. Hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching and take care.